Hey everybody, this is Brett. Wanted to give you guys a quick update on the markets here. Not going to dive into the news this week. It's mostly all been digested, and all eyes are on the upcoming FOMC meeting coming up end of the month here, January 31st into February 1st. Well, let's dive into the charts because, as I always say, show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. So in the chart over here, we see Bitcoin monthly, some really interesting patterns evolving here. And what I want to call your attention to specifically is this bullish engulfing candle on the monthly chart, big bullish engulfing candle. So I am expecting that we push higher, probably up into this 30,000 range, certainly up to the $25,000 range. And then I'd say we could see some kind of pullback maybe in the March, April timeframe and pullback and maybe even another dip down as recession fears come into play. But then we start seeing that big push higher going into 2024. All of this is speculation at this point, but this seems to me a reasonable pattern, and we'll see how it goes. But in terms of where we are now, big bullish engulfing candle, as we can see. The other thing that I really like here is our TSI indicator, our trend strength indicator. This is one of our flagship indicators that we've created. And I'm going to open this up in a minute. Just want to hide some of this for you so you guys aren't looking at all of this at the same time. And I'll hide those engulfing candles. And in terms of the bars pattern here, turn that off too. But this indicator here, this trend strength indicator, if you guys notice here, this has called and or coincided with the bottom in the last two market cycle lows. So this trend strength indicator coming down below the 20% line, turning from red to green and starting to turn higher. We saw that back in 2015, also 2019 as that bottom was put in. So we're seeing the same pattern happening. I know everybody's calling for another crash and lower lows. I was waiting for a $14,000 Bitcoin, 12,005, maybe even 10,000 Bitcoin, but I'm not seeing that right now. So you guys just keep an eye on this. Well, this is one of our custom indicators. And again, if you'd like more information about those, you can go to moonstream.io/success. With Max's permission, he's allowed us to kind of share that with you. And it's a page that looks like this. And there will be a video up there and sort of an overview of what these indicators do. So that's for those of you that want to follow along with these. And a higher time frame, also the monthly chart, the MACD turning nicely higher. This is the one of the main signals that I use to say get out of these markets in November and December of 2021, and really saying get out of the markets in January. So I don't use the MACD so much, but on these longer time frames, it is a great clue. Also, this RSI is looking great here. So we had come down, broken below that all important 40 line, which was the bottom here back in 2015, 2018, 2019, and bounced. We did come down, break through that this past year, and I thought we would go to 40. We just came within a stone's throw of it. So I have my alert set at 40, got to about 40.61, and now we've bounced back above that all important 40 line. So it is looking very good in terms of the overall bottom being put in, although we may see some bouncing around on that. I'm also watching the monthly money flow. This is not updated in a couple of weeks, so I think what we'll see, it's a bit of a delayed indicator, and so this will start to bounce in this region, and that'll confirm, I think, that the bottom is in. And let's see what else. is Stochastics RSI starting to turn higher, also similar to the last couple market cycles. So what are we really looking at here? On the weekly basis, I'll just turn off these arrows, our early reversal indicator, and look at the three accumulation zones that we've been watching. So accumulation zone 1 between 18,700 up to about 24K. And of course, we broke down below that. And we've been in this range here between that and 16.5. So certainly we could come down to the lower end of this around 14,000, but it's not feeling like that right now with this big candle, these candles pushing up higher off of the lows around the 16.5, which I had forecasted back in May publicly that 16.5 would be the bottom, and sure enough, it looks like it was. So we'll see what happens. There's one more thing that we haven't looked at recently, and I want to jump over to, which is the Bitcoin hash ribbon indicator. Now, the hash ribbon that you can see down below is this blue circle. And typically what that has meant in the past, although it was violated here for the first time in 2021, 2022, but typically when the hash ribbon fires, then Bitcoin does not go back below the most recent low. So if we look at this back in this range of 2019, when we saw these lows down here, and then we saw the hash ribbon, we did not come back and break below that. Even with the COVID crash, it held. And so we started seeing that here and here, and then even here in August of 2021, but that did of course break down. So we were watching this and saying that was the low around 30,000, but it did come back down below that and again broke this rule here in August of 22. We had the hash ribbon indicator. Well, actually it's suggesting it wouldn't go below that, and then we did drop down, but now we're getting a third hash ribbon indicator, which would signal that we don't go back below this 16.5 region in here. And so we'll have to see if that holds true. Certainly encouraging. We're back above, holding over 21,100 as support. I think a lot of people are a little bit surprised by this, and some are saying it's a sucker's rally, but I don't know. Everything is looking good to me, and our indicators, which I trust. And so let me just get rid of this here. Somebody was calling for a big crash, and we were sort of debunking that. But nice bounces off of the RSI here. So now, could we have some kind of a pullback in this area? I mean, it's certainly possible, and we're kind of in this mid-range where we've seen that before. But I'm not following that as much as looking at some of these other indicators here. And this is the Bitcoin weekly index, of course, kind of showing also, this is one of our other proprietary indexes called the Volatility Index, proprietary indicators rather. So on the Vol Index, we can see going back that in time here, when the vol index, very rare that it gets below that 20 line on the weekly basis. So down here we saw it come back up out of the red zone into black, coinciding with this market bottom right there, and then Bitcoin went up 27,295%. Then again we saw this in 2015. Now it did peak up above this here. I'll just open that up. Peaked up above this here, then pulled back. So that is what I'm watching for here, is if we can power through this like we saw in the 2019 bottom, and if Bitcoin just shoots higher and keeps on going, or if we see this kind of a pullback here. And so that is certainly something to keep an eye on, because when that happened, it's kind of hard to read because it's so far back, but it pulled back about 30% from that area. So in this peak here, and then back down to a lows around 36%. So it was ultimately still a great time to get back in. The 2019 dip, when the vol index comes up out of this range here, then we just saw this huge rally up, went up 1,300%. But if we do see a 30% pullback from here, if this vol index pulls back like we saw in the prior cycle in 2015, 30% would take us down around, let's see, this region here. That's not showing it to me. I have to get out of the way. It was covered. So let's see, 30% around the 15,000. So, 15,000, even 14,000 still in the cards. Remember, we were watching that 14,000 level on the monthly chart as a possible point of interest. And just to jump back over there, the reasons for that are, let me turn back on the trend lines there. So, and zoom in with this, the 14,000 level earmarks this prior high back in. Just trying to zoom in for you guys so you can see this better. And let's go full screen actually. So if we look back, 14,000 was the prior high of the candle body back in the 2017 pump. Now, certainly it went up as high as 19,000, 20,000, but it held here at 14,000 as the candle body high on those 2 months. And then it came up and acted as resistance here, also 14,000, and then resistance a third time here before breaking higher. So this would be the next strong support level if for some reason things come down. But again, there's big bullish engulfing candle, looks very good. It just needs to hold here for the next 7 days to keep that bullish engulfing candle intact. All right, so jumping back over to that, we'll keep an eye on this. The DXY is in a free fall, has been coming down, has some support here if it comes down, but it is looking like it's it's in crypto rally zone. If the DXY does push up higher, we're in the crypto pullback zone. And if the DXY for some reason pushes much higher, then we're crypto new lows. We would see possibly another big pullback. So we would be watching the DXY and keeping an eye on that. USDT dominance, however, rolling over. So money flowing out of stable coins back into crypto. And we're seeing that both on ETH dominance and also on Bitcoin dominance. Sorry for all the squiggles there. Let's say get rid of all of the drawings. And we can see, though, the the parallel trend channel, though, has been holding. So I'll just redraw that for you guys because we've been watching this for some time. We had this downward trend channel on ETH dominance, and then it flipped. So this has been very exciting to see it hold the bottom edge of that new trading range here. So I would imagine as ETH dominance, as money flows back into crypto, we're going to see ETH lead this rally, is my opinion. And the alts have been doing great. So just look at Bitcoin dominance curving back up here, but not as strong as we're seeing in the alt perpetual index and ETH, which is also an alt. So the technically, so the alt perpetual has been just in this nice little uptrend here. So that was one of our early clues to be calling getting back into these markets a couple of weeks ago. And total market cap had pushed up here to just over it. It's actually right at $1 trillion here. So that's good news. Big line in the sand. However, I do like that the 21 and 50 period moving averages are starting to curve up a bit. The 21, at least it's above that. So we really want to see the total market cap push above $1 trillion and then pull back and hold as support, because as of now, big resistance level. We know that these big round numbers have been strong resistance. The market cap with the very, very top of the market was $3 trillion right here. Nailed it just right exactly at the top, pushed up just a hair over there, and then came back up here, struggled a bit around 2 trillion, came down in this 1 trillion line in the sand is very important. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's see, what else can we look at here? Ethereum looking pretty good. I like this. It's above its 21-day moving average, kind of approaching its 50 here. It has to get above that. So this line here is my suggestion. What we might see is we might push up to about, say, 1925, around 1900 on Ethereum, then some kind of a pullback. This would give us an excellent re-entry zone right here on the pullback to this kind of support line. And this is, of course, on the weekly, and then to push higher and start breaking back into new highs. Now, we have to remember, we are not in a new bull market necessarily. This is a bear market rally, and those should be taken with a grain of salt and with caution. And so being careful with that, but seeing some interesting movement in some of the altcoins. I'll just jump over to a basket that we've been following on a number of these. Really like some of these. Let me jump out of the weekly and get a better look at it. Even XRP looking interesting. Nice big bullish candle there. AVAX has been up nicely, breaking up out of its trading resistance line there. If we zoom out, actually probably could redraw that to about there. Probably hit some resistance around $18. Again, waiting for that pullback to the 21-day moving average support, and then waiting for some of the other indicators that we have to fire here. A bit overbought on our trend strength indicator. METIS, a big bullish candle on METIS, is one that's been on a tear here. Interesting project, also in the payment transaction space, along with Kadena and Solana. Solana also seeing some nice recovery in the past weeks. So all of these payment processors that I just mentioned, METIS, Kadena, and Solana, money flowing back into, because they have actually a revenue and a monetization model. So we want to keep an eye out for that. So that's about it here. We're seeing a Litecoin in a nice upward trend. And so the alts have been kind of leading this rally here. And some of these that haven't moved in a while, looking pretty good. And so anyway, but that's all I wanted to show you here for today. And we'll keep an eye on these markets and get you an update here toward the end of the week. So take care, everybody. Bye.